Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the conversation series. Because creators are businesses.
What we do is not simple.
Give, the fans everything that they deserve.
Being creative
is like doing a 5,000 piece puzzle.
Is something that you can learn and do over and over again.
Always be as authentic as I can be.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the conversation series. I have Sara Abernethy right across from me. She is the owner of Y Hill Hospitality. She's an entrepreneur. She's a wine slinger.
Mm-hmm.
She's an entrepreneur. A restaurateur.
Restaurateur?
There are fancy titles to be saying with her.
Well, I kind of feel like the term sommelier is not really what I do.
like wine slinger.
Wine slinger because I have some background in wine, but I don't serve wine on the floor during service the way that a traditional sommelier does. So I thought wine slinger was more fitting to my personal brand.
I think it's fun. But I've got Sara here right in front of me. I am so excited. We've been shooting the shit for the last 30 minutes, and so we finally hit the record button, and we're
we should be recording. We should be recording this.
We're into this now.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get into your career journey, and you've described yourself as an interesting cocktail.
I have.
Opera singer.
That's right.
Hospitarian, storyteller. How do those ingredients mix together on a typical day? I really want to hear how the opera singer comes in.
Yeah, it is. My career path has definitely been very windy. The connective tissue between all of the various roles that I've played and all the industries I've worked in is definitely someone who is comfortable being sort of an onstage person, someone who's able to communicate, someone who's able to conduct themselves in like a public facing setting with poise and also vulnerability. I transitioned out of pursuing performance full-time into development and fundraising, which was a really great segue. I was fundraising for the arts, for theater in Southern California, and I was talking to people and wooing people and having great discussions about the arts and then making an appeal for donations, which led me to a career in sales, which was a very natural transition. Yep. And I did well at sales. I did well. I don't mind sales today. A lot of people feel the ick when they have to transition into a sales function, but I don't feel that way. I think it's fun.
I applaud people who can do sales and just like really go out and put yourself out there and have those conversations, because a lot of people are like, get away from me.
They feel the ick.
Yeah.
They feel the ick, but you don't have to feel the ick if you really believe in what you're talking about. I think so many people are uncomfortable, like, interrupting somebody or like imposing upon somebody. But I look at it really as just it's an act of service. Yeah. Somebody has a problem. You're trying to solve their problem. Can you explain to them and articulate how you can solve their problem? Great. That's sales.
Yeah.
That's it. And if you're an entrepreneur, you are your own salesperson because nobody's going to toot your horn for you.
Yeah.
So that skill has come in handy over and over and over and over again, for sure. And then from sales into restauranting, as you can imagine, as a performer, to make ends meet, I worked in restaurants because it was flexible. The hours were conducive to what the times that I needed during the day to be available for auditions. And also I was good at sales, right? And good at talking to people. And so there was a part of me that always really enjoyed the hospitality environment. I never thought it would become my primary vocation, but being a Raleigh girly as you are, when that opportunity opened up with the former Boylan Bridge Brew Pub at 201 South Boylan Street, to come in and breathe some new life into it, it was irresistible.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if I answered your question.
But they mix together.
How do they mix all together? Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the same thread of skills in peopling, in selling, in communication,
Yeah.
And then just sort of like the heartstrings and this like underlying humanity that I find tapping into is.
And now the owner of Y Hill, you're not you've got a co-founder with you, or you've got your husband right next to you in this whole process.
Bless him.
I want to hit on, some parallels first of how you found between, conducting a dinner service between performing on stage.
Oh, yeah. Opening for dinner every night is theater. Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't realize how many parallels there are to putting on a production in a theater and putting on a dinner service. So my husband, Chris, has been a technical director in the theater for 20 years. Yeah. He is a very, very skilled craftsman. He can fix anything that's broken. And he really does care very deeply about food and beverage and experiences. And that all comes from his background in theater. Like, how would an audience member experience a full sensory moment from what they're seeing, what they're smelling, what they're touching? How does the space look from every single seat? Chris has sat in every single seat in all of our restaurants to see what is the guest feeling when they're sitting in this seat, which, what are they looking at? Are we directly looking at someone's butt, right? In a different seat? Are we directly looking at someone's butt while they're putting in an order? I mean, these details are important to consider. But I think a lot of people don't realize that the full sensory experience of enjoying a meal at a restaurant is so much more than what you get served from the menu. Yeah. How did the chairs feel? How did the plates feel? How did is the table wobbly? Yeah. Is the sound too loud? How loud are the chairs when people are exiting? It's a whole smattering of details. And the other parallel truly is you have whatever you have going on backstage and in the back of the house. Yeah. And sometimes it's fine and sometimes shit goes off the rails. Yeah. But no matter
Cook's yelling it.
I can't even begin to outline to you the number of silly charades that have happened during dinner service. And then you have to keep it together in the dining room to keep, the ambiance going, to keep the experience going. Again, like in the restaurant world, the product is not the food and the drink. The product is the service and the experience. And we also tend to attract in hospitality some quirky people, myself being one of them. Like, we attract people who love people, but sometimes are prone to drama, again, myself included, right? Yeah. So it can be a very emotionally demanding experience, but also if you like being in either industry, in theater or restaurants, you thrive well working on your feet, you thrive well problem solving, you thrive well in a fast-paced environment where there's a lot going on all the time, and that's very fulfilling to you. So there are really so many connections in between the two.
I think drama is a very good way. My sister worked in restaurants for years, and the things that would come home at the end of the day.
It's insane. It's insane. The tales I could tell.
I mean, could be your own full thing you do, a podcast you do, book Truly. You write, just series.
A coffee table book of my experiences. Yeah, you really do see the full spectrum of humanity when you are working in food service, for sure.
It's interesting to me too, because when you go in and when you're younger, you don't kind of realize but as you get older and as an adult, you really kind of take things in terms of the overall experience, how people are moving around, all of these things. You kind of just start watching very, very closely to everything that's kind of moving as you're there, as you're sitting at that table. It's an interesting thing to experience.
It's a very interesting thing to experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have called hospitality a way to enrich lives with gourmet experiences. What's something about five-star hospitality that most people overlook outside of butts and faces when you're sitting
Outside of
there?
butts and faces, it really has everything to do with when you're receiving true five-star hospitality, in my opinion, you are feeling seen.
Yeah.
You are feeling seen. You are feeling cared for. Most of the time when people have a negative experience or they go online later to like leave a shitty review on Google or whatever, it's because they felt like no one was paying attention to them. And they're like, hello, I'm like waving my credit card in the air, take my money. Why do you not care about me?
Yeah.
And when you are seeing someone and delivering an experience beyond what they're expecting, especially with like little morsels of, we love the concept of unreasonable hospitality by Will Guidara. It's a great book. Little tidbits that go above and beyond.
Yeah.
Like if it is someone's anniversary, leaving them an anniversary note and welcome bubbles at their table when they arrive. Just like
Yeah.
little surprises.
Yes.
As if like a little hospitality fairy just was there sprinkling, dust on the moment. It makes people feel so special. It also sort of unlocks this very childlike sense of wonder in people when they get surprised with things. And it's so wonderful to be on the giving end of that. It feels so good to be the one orchestrating all of that.
Being the fairy?
Being the fairy. So great. Some people really do have a natural knack for it, and some people have to be taught, but it's a skill everybody can learn.
Yeah. Now, as a wine slinger,
Yes.
what's your philosophy when it comes to, curating a wine list? When it, is it about,
I love this question.
is it about storytelling? Is it about balance? Is it about, a surprise? Like what is it for you?
I love this question. It has everything to do with the concept that you are working with. So I'll speak to the approach to Glass House Kitchen because that's where I'm living most of the time in this context. Glass House Kitchen is a 100-seat restaurant. It is a gloriously beautiful interior, so stunning, right? So it's very grand. Yeah. You gasp when you go in there for the first time. The light, the windows, the plants, it's just gorgeous. So we wanted to have a concept within that space that really embodied upscale, eclectic American. And that's sort of like a blanket term for being very flexible. So we wanted it to be seasonal. We wanted it to be chef driven, which means take something that's very approachable and put a sparkle on it. Okay. So that's where the food lived. And so we wanted the wine to complement that. And so I also, for that space, wanted a wine list that represented all the classics, but then also introduced regions and grapes that people definitely wouldn't be familiar with, but might be enticed to try. So for each category, I approached it with, all right, for still white wines, for example, what are the pillars that you got to have? You have to have something from Burgundy. You have to have a Sauvignon Blanc. You have to have, in my opinion, for this concept, you have to have a Pinot Grigio. But then, within that, why don't we try a Chardonnay that's from Bulgaria and a Chardonnay from California and teach our staff about it and go from there? Why don't we also have a couple of SKUs that are grape varietals that people are not familiar with, like Viura from Spain? And then you could just offer an opportunity for learning both from guest and staff. And I do particularly love having pillars and then the classic interpretation of that, and then a fun, exciting, adventurous interpretation of that. And so white, rosé, red, and sparkling wines for sure. I'd love to have more dessert wine on the menu, but we started with more, and we've just had to adapt that based on what the clients were asking for, the guests were asking for. I think any smart restaurateur is willing to give that degree of flexibility.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That's the approach.
I like the difference. Like, hey, you might be used to this.
If you like this,
Let's
why
try
don't you
this.
try
Yes.
this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I like having those experiences. Like, personally for myself, I'm like, if you tell me, hey, your margarita's great, but you go and you're like, but we've got this margarita. I'm like, sure. I am open to new experiences with those things because you're the expert.
That's how Chris feels 100%. When
Yeah.
he goes into a restaurant, he's like, I don't want to make a decision. You're the one you're like looking to the staff. You know this menu better than anybody. You tell me what I want.
Yeah.
Not everybody feels that way from a guest perspective. And I do totally get that. But again, it's like if someone approached you with like real connection, humanity, and you felt like they were really seeing you and trying to give you a good time, you're much more likely to accept their invitation for the cool margarita. You know?
Love a good margarita.
Love a good margarita.
Love a good
margarita.
you mentioned Glass House and the incredibleness of that space, but I want to go into how do you approach crafting, I don't want to say vibe, but a vibe of a restaurant, like what details tell you what space has the right kind of soul?
Oof. Cultivating a vibe is art and science.
Okay.
The biggest factors in my experience that influence vibe, number one is lighting. And again, that's a theater skill. Lighting, depending on the concept, right? Like what is the space? With Glass House Kitchen, with 2 stories of glass, it's not going to be dark in there. It's not going to be a speakeasy cave-like situation. But in other spaces like Watson Ward downtown, they've got, like the old-timey lanterns and light bulbs and warm lighting. Lighting, it also is the most economical way that you can have the biggest impact on any interior is lighting.
Okay.
Do you want it to be dim? Do you want it to be bright? I mean, cold white lighting, in an interior space, that's just so cruel. Why would you do that to anyone? Why?
Doesn't look flattering on any photos either.
Ever. So it must be warm. Must be warm, for heaven's sake. But yes, that's a big one. How the seat feels is a big one. And that's an interesting Tetris board because there's no limit to the choices that you have as a restaurateur to selecting the chair. Yeah. So you want a chair that complements the interior vibe of the space. You want a chair that makes sense in terms of the measurements of your table. Yeah. You want a chair that you can afford because you're going to have to buy many of them and you're going to have to buy them over and over as they break. And you want it to be comfortable, but you actually don't, in my experience, I don't want it to be too comfortable in our restaurant setting. And that sounds kind of backwards, actually. But if the concept were, again, it all goes back to the concept. If the concept were a wine lounge and it's small and it's compact and it's cozy, and your goal is to have people to stick around for hours and hours with bottles of wine and charcuterie,
then you want a cushioned seat.
You want a cushioned, low to the ground seat where people are not going to get up. They're just going to stay chilling. But something like Glass House, you kind of do want people to feel like, I shouldn't say that. I should say people want to feel like they're sitting upright at a more upscale experience. That's what they want. That, and they're coming to Glass House dressed up, ready to go, ready to be seen, right? Yeah. So lighting, the seat, texture, all the details about the seat, so important because it also influences like how you feel physically when you're in the space. Yes. God, I could like go on and on this all day. I would say the music is another really economical, generally, factor that has a huge impact. I think investing in a sound system is one thing that's like a totally different topic with equipment, as you know. But what kind of music are you playing? I can remember a morning at Y Hill where we opened for lunch, and it's like 11:30 in the morning, and like some Marilyn Manson song comes on, and it's just like, just like horribly inappropriate, not safe for work lyrics, and it's loud, and it's just like, okay. If we were in a dive bar and it were midnight, and like that's a different vibe, but it's just like so wrong. So
You see all the dads just turn around and
like,
start
what is
rock
happening?
music.
I mean, just like so loud. Like there are families here. Like, I don't know how this happened. So yeah, lighting, music, the chair. And notice I didn't say menu. Notice I didn't say cuisine.
No, because it really like, if you're like, you are sitting there for, 45 minutes to an hour for a meal minimum meal experience.
Mm-hmm.
My ass starts hurting.
Some people, it's true,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It really is true. It really is true.
I'm like,
but all of these sort of softer details, they add up. They really add up. And the cuisine is not irrelevant. Yeah. It's very important. I don't want to dismiss, the artistry of the culinary component and the care that our culinary team and our bar team take in crafting what they do. They're amazing at it. But without the other connective tissue, it will fall flat.
I like how you said connective tissue, because it's all the little things, it's all the medium things, and it's the larger things that really kind of build a restaurant together.
For sure.
What is the most meaningful or surprising thing a guest has said to you after a meal?
So many, but there's one that jumps to mind immediately, where there was a guest who came to dinner at Glass House Kitchen and sat by herself. And I was like, pop off, queen. Like, that is so great. I love going to the movies alone. I love dining alone. I get it. Pop off. And after the meal, she told us that every year on her late husband's birthday, she takes herself out to dinner, and that this meal was so exquisite that she felt like he was there laughing along, enjoying it with her.
She walks out the door and you just start crying.
I mean, that was so special to hear that someone was touched in that way. It's comments like that get you out of bed in the morning.
Yep. What's one hospitality myth you love to debunk for people who might romanticize restaurant life?
A myth to debunk. I think I do hear a lot from people who are in more of a corporate grind.
Yes.
And are feeling highly unfulfilled in a corporate grind because they feel like what they're doing doesn't matter. They feel like a cog. They don't feel like a human. They feel like a number. And they're like, why am I spending the majority of my conscious life doing this? And there are reasons like salary and benefits and healthcare and retirement matching and yes. And they're like, I know. But like, wouldn't it just be like so fun if I quit that and opened whatever, a cafe or a coffee shop or a restaurant? And I do understand that very deeply because I have worked in the corporate world. And yes, it is most certainly not as exciting as a day in a restaurant where no 2 days are alike. But you really do have to be incredibly tolerant of risk, and you have to be incredibly tolerant of turbulence. I feel like Chris and I have cultivated a very, very strong tolerance for risk and a true belief that if everything were to go away today, if we lost the house and we lost everything and we had to declare bankruptcy or whatever, that we would still feel okay because we would have each other, we would have our babies, and we would start something else. We would start over. We personally, it would be very hard and we would grieve that loss. It'd definitely be hard, but I would not feel hopeless. I would not feel like I'm just comfortable with that. I really feel like nothing that really, really matters in my life could be taken away by losing the business.
Yeah.
Everything that really matters will still be intact. So I think you've got to have that mindset, and not everybody is comfortable with carrying that burden.
Yeah.
It is a lot to carry the livelihoods of even one person. It's a lot. Yeah. Like, could you imagine hiring a full-time W-2 employee for your project?
Oh my God, no.
And making sure, like, oh my God, do I have enough to pay them? Do I have?
It's
are they
the
good?
most
Are they
stressful
fulfilled?
thing. Even having somebody as freelance. I
It's
am
hard.
stressed. I am so stressed. And I went through a period over the summer where I transitioned out of my full-time job, and I was sitting there, I was going, I've got to cut things out of and I looked at her and I said, I'm so sorry, but I was like, I cannot
pay you
anymore.
Yeah.
And immediately when I got my new job, I looked at her and I said, if you are able to, I'd love to have you back on. She immediately hopped back on. But it was one of those, I was like, I can't sit here and keep you on and at the same time balance between having to pay you your monthly and considering whether or not I can buy my 3 dogs that are my children dog food.
Yeah.
I can't sit here and weigh that.
It is a heavy burden to bear.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to add to that is people fantasize about like running off into the sunset and opening their cute cafe to get away from the man.
Yeah.
But when you do that, you become
the man. Yeah.
And you cannot do it by yourself. You have to have a team. When you are running a brick and mortar business, I don't think people realize how much of the work is actually just fixing broken equipment and dealing with maintenance and space issues. Seriously, you're going to be unclogging toilets. Yeah. You're going to be dealing with a leak. You're going to be the internet's down. The electric is down.
Yeah. Something in the kitchen is broken.
Something in the kitchen is broken. And that happens every day, every day. And if you're not an expert in facilities, which who it is, unless you're my husband, Chris Borson, that is, it's just, you don't spend your time like doing the cute, like being Meg Ryan in You've Got Mail with the bookshop. You don't. You spend your time like with the drill in your hand fixing shit because you can't afford to call a handyman. So I would just like, that's the real. Yeah. At the end of the day, for me, it has been totally worth it, and I would not change a thing. We definitely jumped into it without the credentials or without the, experience. We definitely jumped into it without the funding and a belief that we had the skills and the grit to make it happen. Yeah. And we did make a good bet with the location of Y Hill. We made a really good bet with that location because talk about supply and demand. People in Raleigh were demanding for that place to be something special. And I think they were really demanding for that place to be independently, locally Raleigh. Yeah. And we really knew that. And that has paid off. That bet has paid off.
You and I were talking a little bit before we started. You've mentioned, redefining success on your own terms. What is, how has that transition? We were just talking about this second baby in March. What is that, that look like, Sara, when Y Hill and Glass House first opened to what it is now today, your role?
It's so tough. It's so tough to be a woman at childbearing age and pursuing an entrepreneurial journey. It's really hard. And I was so scared, truly, when I jumped into the business full time. I just want to say the first 3 years we were in business for Y Hill, I was working a 9 to 5. And I don't think a lot of people know that. I was working at 9 to 5 for the first 3 years. Yes.
My
And then I would
God.
come into the restaurant from 5 to whatever, and then on the weekends. And that's the real. Like I said, like we did not have money to do this in the way that other more established people have, and that's just what we had to do to make ends meet.
Yes.
I don't regret it. I really don't regret it, but it was really hard for a long time. And so when I jumped into the business full time, I was so scared about like, oh my God, what's going to happen when we want to have a family?
Yeah.
And of course got pregnant immediately. Immediately. The universe is like, all right, let's find out. Which, you know, that makes sense. And the children are, you know, there's just the most wonderful, wonderful gift ever. And I'm so glad they're here. But both times it has changed my capacity in day-to-day operations. And with this second pregnancy, I really knew going into it, I was going to have to unwind myself quite a bit. And what that was like, it was painful. It was really hard. I felt like I was quitting. I felt like I was quitting and that I wasn't like a real restaurant owner because I was taking a step back and that I wasn't worthy of the title of business owner or restaurateur because I didn't have all the answers to every single thing that was going on every single day. And I hope that that's a universal experience. I hope that's an experience other entrepreneurs can relate to. Imposter syndrome has never really left me, but grappling with that with the second pregnancy really was. And I was nervous that the team would think I was lazy because I wasn't there every day, or the team would think that I was just like sitting with my feet up, eating candy, you know, because I wasn't in the restaurant watching TV all day. And I just knew that I had to unwind myself from every process and function that required me to be on site at any time. Yeah. And so I had to trust other people to take up those things. Hard. And then the other hard thing is that they did it. And they did it without me. And then I was like, well, what?
Sarah's face right now is she's so
I like, is that what I wanted? Yes. But then there's this feeling of like, like they don't need me. Yeah. They don't need me. Yeah. What was I doing? Yeah. Why? That has been very humbling. Yeah. Very humbling. Because as high functioning achievers, I think we get a lot of validation from like, I did that. Yes. I did that. I do everything myself. Yep. You get a lot of validation from that. And then when you're not doing everything yourself, it takes a minute to
I will go back to it. It is very humbling.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now my role, I wrote myself a new job description. I shared it with everyone and I said, this is what I do. This is what I no longer do. So I'm not involved in menu changes. I'm not involved in menu releases. We have an incredibly talented team that navigates that and they do a great job. But really where I'm finding the highest and best use of me now is being more of a brand ambassador, being more of a cheerleader out in the world, figuring out how can we toot the horn of our restaurants? How can we do bigger partnerships that might bring more visibility to our brand? How can we be community oriented and stay true to our core values? And then trying to ensure that the horizon of what's next for the brand gets cascaded back down to the people in the store. Yeah. We've had great success with connecting the employees and our team members to the bigger picture of what it's all about. Yeah. But since I've been out of the loop day to day with the second baby, I do see that has sort of, it's like not something that's critical for day-to-day functioning, but sort of over time it is missed. And then, of course, I do still oversee the wine program only at Glass House. So just wine.
She's still wine slinging.
I'm still wine slinging. We have an incredible bar manager, Greg Dreyer, who is so fabulous. He's WSET Level 2 certified, and he's doing amazing. But I like to have my hand in the pot for shaping the wine program, making sure it stays true to the vision, making sure the team is still getting educated. I love doing wine education. So that's how that's unfolded.
You laid out kind of the steps that you went through with all of that, but what was like the emotions outside of the humbling of like, oh, they can do this? Like when you came to that realization of like, okay, I have to step back and we're working through all of the things, like, do you now feel okay with, taking that step back, or is it still something where you're like,
It's
I'm
still
struggling.
a struggle.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's sort of like, in a weird way, ending a relationship without real closure.
Without actually walking away.
Without walking away. It sort of feels like that because there's always this story you tell yourself of like what could have been, or like what still could come to be.
Yes.
And it has been a big part of my identity and my sense of self-worth to be like, I did it myself and we are independently owned. And it has been an incredible lesson in team building and delegation. Yeah. And that, with the feeling that comes with that, is anxiety. Yeah. And then these circuits of anxiety, relief, because the team we have in place is doing amazing. And they are really proving themselves at every turn. And so trust is being built a little bit at a time. And my comfort with not knowing all the answers to all the questions, like a muscle, is growing one day at a time. Like I came in one day earlier this year, and someone's like, where are the trash bags? And I'm like, I don't even know where the fucking I don't know if I can say that. Okay. I don't even know where the trash bags are. And that made me feel like, like some type of way. Yeah. Like, oh my God, I'm not doing a good enough job because I don't know that answer. That was the first thing I felt was embarrassment. And then I had to work and be like, well, it's okay. It's actually a sign that you have leveled up, that you don't know that level of day-to-day detail. Yeah. But you know what all the P&Ls say, which is like, that's what you should be knowing, right? Yeah. Right.
I want to talk really quickly about, we've seen so much growth happening here in Raleigh. From new tech and new businesses coming in, entrepreneurship, booming like crazy. It's a good thing and a bad thing for us who have been here for a long time. We're like, who are all these new people that are here? But restaurants, we just got some incredible news, have our first Michelin. Absolutely incredible. What has it felt like to Glass House, Y Hill, all of these pieces that you guys have been part of this growth as well? What has it felt like for you guys
to be a part of the growth?
Yeah.
I have no beef with the concept of Raleigh growing. Yeah. I understand that it comes with a number of logistical challenges for sure. I get that. Yeah. I think it's wonderful that Raleigh is getting put on the map as a destination city. And it is an amazing place to live. Yeah.
I feel really proud.
I've always been proud. I'm sure you have too. I've always been proud to say I'm from Raleigh. And I think the more people that come here, particularly from larger cities and more cosmopolitan communities, I think it presents a really exciting opportunity for dining here because there's more room for creative and like what's happening now in the culinary world. We have more opportunity to have that right here. Yes. I'm so proud of our friends who got recognized by Michelin. I'm so proud of them. Malapada, come on. It is so good. If y'all haven't been to Malapada, it's so wonderful. Stanberry's a classic. Stanberry's like a go-to for us on the rare occasions where we actually do dine out at other places.
At other establishments.
I'm so happy for them. And it's so exciting to have that national lens on our culinary scene here.
I think it's so exciting that, I mean, it's fun.
It's fun.
It's fun how much, like, you can go out on the weekend and you're like, even being here as long as I've been here, it's fun to go out on the weekend and be like, there is something new out there for me to try that the 28 years that I've been alive that I have not experienced yet. And it's exciting.
And it's world class.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that Y Hill and Glass House Kitchen are necessarily world class.
Come on.
Yet. But that was also never our objective in the first place.
Yeah. How do you like to, lead your team through chaos of not just the ever. Sarah's eyes are so wide right now. How do you like to lead your team through the chaos of whether it's just a dinner meal, a lunch rush, whatever it may be? How do you like to deal with everything that comes with chaos in the restaurant world?
That's a good question. I have learned a lot from the fuck around and find out method.
Amen.
Of what does work and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
I would say today, it sounds like so cringe, but we do have core values for our hospitality company that we go back to all the time. And they are give a shit. Yes. Oh my God. I haven't said them in a year because I haven't led a meeting like this in a year. Give a shit. Humble, hungry. A fucking delightful experience, which we had to grow that up and say a delightful experience, but didn't have quite the same punch. And then the fourth one is the quartz effect, which Chris always rolls his eyes because what I was trying not to say was synergy, because that sounds so corporate.
Yes.
And if you're a crystal girly like me, you know that the quartz crystal takes the energy that it's in and then it radiates it out into the world. And so the concept is synergy. If everything's working the way it should and everybody's working together, you do create a ripple effect that goes out and creates a bigger impact in the world.
Yeah.
And I do believe when people come into our restaurant and they have a great experience and they have a great time and they go out and their vibe is high, that they contribute to higher vibes in their own lives. I really do believe that. So finding the right people who really resonate with those core values, who can embody those concepts day to day, is the sturdy compass through all of the chaos. And we use those core values to make decisions. We use those core values to give people performance reviews and feedback and to hold people accountable. And so everybody who is an employee knows that we do take them seriously because they're really embedded in how we do service every day.
Yeah. I love them.
That was embarrassing that I couldn't pull them out immediately. It's been a minute. And I swear to God, after having this second baby, a significant portion of my hard drive has been deleted.
I love though that, I mean, I love that you learn from the fuck around and find out.
Yes.
Because it truly, it's how you
real.
learn. It's so real. It's how you learn. It's how people don't like to dress it up like that and say that, but it's that is what it is.
Especially being a manager. I went from never having managed anyone to being a business owner.
Yeah.
And so it has taken me, I think I've gotten a lot better over the years, but those first few years, I was terrible. I was a terrible manager.
Yeah.
And that was also embarrassing and humbling. But you have to go through that to be able to really hone in on that skill set.
Yes.
And I'm also an empath, so that makes it like extra hard. And a hospitalitarian. So I'm like, how do I take care of you? Like, let me take care of you.
Yeah.
But I have gotten much better through many trials and many errors.
You have built your life around feeding and serving others. What fills you up?
Oh man, I love stand-up comedy. I love to laugh. I just really love to laugh. I read a book that said having a really good laugh helps close the stress cycle and helps it like helps to combat burnout when you like the laughing where you like can't stop and you're crying. Love it. I love singing still to this day. I'm not always perfect at making room for music in my life, but when I go without it for too long, I feel the void. So I participate when I can with the North Carolina Master Chorale, which is so fun, such a wonderful group to be a part of. And in fact, this year, because I'm insane, I launched a Christmas caroling group called the Sleigh Bells, and they are wonderful. So that has been such a fun outlet for the music skill set. I will always have that in my life. Yeah. And I'm really happy to have made peace with the fact that it doesn't have to be my full-time vocation for me to be worthy enough to do it. Yeah. I have always chosen things that like it's very difficult not to get your sense of self-worth intertwined with your identity of the thing, like a singer and in sales and as an entrepreneur. It's so like if you're doing good, then you're like, then I'm like a good person. And then if you're doing shitty, you're like, well, I'm a shitty person. And it just that's not healthy or helpful for anyone. But that was a question, right? Yeah. That was what fills me up. Oh yeah. Singing, stand-up comedy, cooking. I do love cooking at home. I am not doing it now as much as I used to with 2 kids under the age of 4, but I really love a Sunday afternoon in the kitchen making something. Yeah. You know, that takes a while and like low and slow on the stove. Yeah.
I love a good, for me, it's football's on.
Yeah.
Dogs are outside running around. Yeah. I'm in the kitchen. I've got the sun coming through the kitchen window.
I see it.
Yep.
I see it.
Chaos out in the yard, by the way.
Yeah. Do those dogs sleep in the bed with you? I hope so. Puddle.
So I barely have a sliver. I have a 6-year-old Siberian Husky.
Bless.
I have a 3-year-old Lab Pity Mix. Oh. They're all boys. And I have
You're a boy mom.
Two are rescues. And then I have a 1.5 years. His name's Little Man.
Do they love each other?
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing ever. So, but I'll cut this in. Charlie is currently recovering from an ACL surgery.
My son's name is Charlie.
It's Blue, Charlie, and Little Man.
Love it.
Yeah. And so
I'm sorry he's going through it.
Yeah, so he's in his crate all day, and so he's usually Little Man's partner in crime. And so because he's in his crate all day, he's then looking to the big man. The big man's like, get away from me.
Well, that sounds like such a happy, wonderful.
But so Little Man will sleep in bed. Blue will get up on the bed, but he likes to be right in front of the fan. And he has to be looking at the bedroom door because he has to protect. Charlie gets up and down, but right now he's not able to jump.
So he's
in his bed.
Yeah.
And he's perfectly content there. But Little Man has to be attached to you.
Yeah.
And I wake up in the morning just sweating.
Yeah. I'm a dog lady. I love dogs. We don't have one at this moment, and we just can't wait until we
If I could, I'm the person, I'm like, I want to go buy a big plot of land, rescue all the dogs.
All the dogs.
All the dogs, and let them live their happiest lives. That's the type of person I am. So everybody's looking at me and like, don't get a fourth. And I'm like,
but why? I already have 3.
I'm like a kid. But then everybody's looking at me, they're like, 3's a lot. And I'm like, it's a lot, especially as I travel to the beach and things.
You do have boy mom energy though. Like I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's how it is.
I love it.
That's how it is. Sarah, I can't thank you enough
Oh my gosh, thank you for having
for
me.
sitting
This
down
was so
and doing this with
fun.
me. I am so appreciative. Guys, if you are traveling to Raleigh, if you are here in the Triangle, please go to Glass House. Please come to White Hill. Come and see this incredible business that Sara and her husband have created. It's truly magnificent. I will leave all their socials down below. Please go give them a follow. But just thank you for being here.
Such a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yes. And as always, I will see you guys back here next time. Bye, y'all.